way. Are you feeling okay?
And welcome to Good Morning, Port Harcourt, coming to you live from Silverbed Television right here in Port Harcourt. How are you doing today? Well, this is that show that we bring to you, the late morning show. What we do here basically is let you understand what's happening around the environment, let you understand what's happening on the news, and also bring you a part of the discussion and let you be involved in the processes of what is going on in the governance, developmental issues, and every other thing that has to do with you and I as regards to Nigeria and River State. Well, today on the show we have Tuesdays, of course, you already know, is the day we have our public opinion, which is of course the eyewitness report. A day we allow you to be a part of telling us what is going on around the environment. You be the reporter today and let's understand what is happening around you that we don't know about. Yes, we reach out, we are everywhere, but we can't be everywhere as well. So today you have us calling and let's understand what's happening. Well, first of all, we're going to go to, of course, the headlines of the news, which is a compilation of the newspaper headlines as well as all the top stories. And the politicking these days is like politicking all the way. Welcome to Good Morning Port Harcourt. My name is Deborah Balama. Welcome to the show. Take a break. When we come back, the show kicks off fully. Stay with us.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Port Harcourt, coming to you live from Silverbed Television right here in Port Harcourt, wherever you're watching us from. We say to you, we're here to make your morning worth it. So we just go on straight to trending gist. And as you all aware that over the weekend in Plateau State, that state unfortunately has had the worst attacks when it comes to suspected herdsmen killing. And well, this time around, over 70 people were massacred on Sunday. It was a very deadly one, and they left several unascertained number injured. She is here on the grounds of the fact that as we speak, she's alleging that there's a screening going on at the moment in Government House, Port Harcourt, where some aspirants have been exempted from it, and she inclusively is in the list of people who were not allowed access to the screening point, despite the fact that she has everything. There has been zero empowerment on the youth. There has been nothing done on employment or empowerment. It's been more of capital projects. It's been more of projects, infrastructural projects, and that zero effort has been put into manpower development in the state. Do you think that they're making sense? Yes, welcome back to Good Morning Port Harcourt, and right, we're here with me this beautiful morning. I have a beautiful girl too.
Good morning, Debbie.
How are you doing, Bersa?
I'm fine, thank you, Deborah.
Okay, so we go on straight to the headlines, and we start with the papers this beautiful morning. And we have INEC on the punch. We have that INEC CBN partnership on the track. The presidential bid, of course, as regards the 2023 presidential bid, the elections that are forthcoming. We already know that the CBN governor, of course, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has indicated interest, or seems like he's interested in the presidential race in the APC, and he's officially now a member of the All Progressives Congress. And this is spiking a lot of fears from, of course, the civil society organizations and the Nigerian Bar Association. And on the Punch, we have where they say INEC CBN partnership on the threat over MFL's APC membership. And then it goes further to explain that commission to review CBN's role may move ballot papers from banks' vault. You all know that, of course, during the electioneering period, the CBN is usually a saving center for, or where they keep most of the sensitive materials when it's after production is kept there to keep it safe and secured. But now, when the person who is keeping it secured,
it's now coming out to run.
Now an APC member.
And I think he's making about the 28th person that is declaring for that same position to be the president of the country, and he wants to run. I think INEC and some other part, they're being sensitive, because it's like you have the milk and you have the sugar. What do we do?
Okay, well, this is actually what is spelling. It's now sparking a lot of fears from civil society organizations and the Nigerian Bar Association, and they're saying that these things are no longer safe. We used to be able to keep these things at the CBN, but now with even if he doesn't even run for this anymore, because he's officially now an APC member, it's already supposed to be spelling bias. And then, of course, can you keep something with someone you don't trust?
No, it ought to be on a neutral ground, someone that's not in any of the party to start with.
However, an ex-INEC commissioner has actually also added his voice. He says no fears over Apex Bank governor's presidential ambition. No fears over the Apex Bank governor's presidential ambition. So he's saying that there's no need for the worries and the panicking, as nothing has gone wrong. You will find that detailed story in the Punch. Next, please.
On the Guardian, same INEC to severe CBN ties as MFL 6 court nod. It's just him here, and they're still trending. Why? They said he is in possession of sensitive material. Like he earlier said, the CBN is in charge.
He's likely going to be in possession of it as a CBN governor.
So it's not really a good thing. So the INEC are trying to see how they can give a court order to restrain him from running for the 2023.
Okay, well, we also are aware that Emefiele has approached the court to also find out, to verify whether there's any clause in the law, in the constitution, that says that someone that is an appointee in CBN should not be able to vie for an elective position. We all know the processes of installing a CBN governor. Of course, a presidential nomination, and then, of course, a proper screening. Almost looking like same processes with the nomination of ministers. So, I mean, he's also said he's actually going to the court, and we hope to get that maybe the injunction from the court to state whether he qualifies or he has any reason not to contest.
They're just pushing it, like the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami San, to appear before it on Thursday, May 12, to explain why the Central Bank of Nigeria and CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele shouldn't be disqualified from running for president in 2023.
That's actually getting deeper into the story. So it's looking like the court has a problem
raising eye in it already.
You know, because especially if they're going to be keeping sensitive materials. So I mean, the worries are not out of place, if you ask me. Because you cannot give someone you do not think, someone who, for instance, someone is running an election and you're giving them something to keep that concerns the same election that you're supposed to be out of the reach of the candidates.
And you're giving to the same person to keep
for safety. Person is being kept. Is being given this same thing to keep. And then we go to leadership, where we have that Jonathan's picture with APC chairman Adamu sparks membership controversy. You, of course, saw how it heated the polity yesterday when the picture went public and viral. And everybody started saying, "Oh, Jonathan." And then there was also the story about Meiti Allah Of course, there's like a coalition of headsmen, people who keep floats and all that,
and also the
yeah, they put money together amounting to 100 million naira, and they have to chase the form with Jonathan's name on it. And well, this didn't go that well with a lot of people who feel like there's this thing about the North insisting on Jonathan. What is the special thing about it? What is the special thing about them insisting on Jonathan? Is it because he has just 4 years to go? There's this thing about the North saying the South has done 14 years, and then they have done just about 10 years, 10 and a half years. So they are looking at, they need to complete it just as the South has done. But with this now, you can just see that there is a push from the northern side. I think that the push is coming more from the north than the south for Jonathan to run. So there must be a reason. And if you want to look at it analytically, you just see that it might just be because they think he has just 4 years. Because giving an 8 years tenure, of course we know anyone who has not been president before might want to do a second tenure. So they're looking at it as, let us not. If we give this to someone who's never been there, we're going to be out of power for 8 years.
For a very long time.
But Jonathan would just do for 4 years.
4 years.
If this is the reason, I don't know, but analytically, someone can analyze it to be that way. Okay, well, Jonathan, represented by his media spokesperson, issued a release yesterday at when the story went viral about being given the presidential form. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has rejected the presidential form of the All Progressives Congress purchased for him on Monday by a group of his supporters from the north. The group actually is called Meiti Allah, and then Dr. Jonathan's media advisor Ike Chukwu Eze said in a statement hours after the news that the group had bought the form for him, broke that the former president did not authorize the purchase and consider the move by the group an insult. This is a statement as released by the former president Goodluck Jonathan's media aide. He went quoting his statement. He said, "We wish to categorically state that Dr. Goodluck Jonathan was not aware of this bid and did not authorize it." The statement read further, "We want to state that if the former president wanted to contest an election, he would make his intention clear to the public and would not enter through the back door." In recent months, there has been increased speculations about whether former President Goodluck Jonathan will run for the election or not. And the last time he was questioned by media people, by news hunters, he did mention that he is yet indecisive. He's still consulting and wanting to be sure that he's taking the right decision before he will declare his intention formally that he's running for the 2023 presidential race on the All Progressives Party. But is there smoke without fire? Are we really sure that there is no reason to look deeper if he is actually tinting towards the APC? He has denied it anyways and says he is going to let everybody know with time.
The same time, our people were also saying that during Jonathan regime, he kept about 60 billion naira to sponsor education for the Amajiris. And that's why they are coming out to sell their cattle and their cow and the rest of it to put up this money to make sure he runs for this position, but without even consulting the person if he wants to.
Well, basically, there's been a lot of people buying forms for people. If you look at the election list, as of yesterday, I think there are about 26 now that are running for this election, because Emefiele has not really come out, though they bought his form. They have not really accepted that he's running. Well, I think there are about 26 at the moment, and if you look at that list, almost everybody was bought by an organization, a coalition, or one thing or the other. So we leave it at that. And then they're going to Nigerian News Direct. It's all about the mixed reaction that thrilled Jonathan's picture with the APC chairman. And on this particular paper, we have 2023 mixed reactions trail Jonathan's defection to APC, purchase of presidential form. The paper is already alleged that he's already a member of the APC. Well, Jonathan hasn't said that yet.
He hasn't said anything yet.
He hasn't said anything about being a member of the APC yet. So, I mean, they would need to show us what his membership card.
It's so strong that yesterday some youth had to take off to the street of Abuja, close to his office, the Federal Capital Territory, and painted most buses with this picture declaring that he should come out and take a stand and to be the president. And it means this man is good, or there is something they are not telling us.
Well, for me, I would say it is okay to cajole someone to run, but unpreparedness is also not good. If he didn't plan to run for presidency, that means he doesn't have the plan in place. Presidency is not just like somebody working a 9 to 5 job. It is something that involves billions. I mean, billions of naira, trillions of naira, and of course lives of people. How many? Over 200 million people's lives and fates are right in your hands as a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you should have a plan. You should have a manifesto. I think so far, if you hear them go out, the people who have the presidential ambition, they go out and give, of course, what they have, their plans they have. At this time, at the critical stage we are, where Nigeria is going through quite a lot economically, where it is right time that we diversify our economy, and of course look at agriculture, and of course look at how to boost our exports and our entirely generated revenue, as well as entirely generated goods that we produce in Nigeria. The kind of president we need in Nigeria is the one that is calculatively ready to take us to the next level. So I think it's okay to cajole someone to run for an election, but it is also okay that the person is prepared and he's not forced or coerced into agreeing to run for this election. What do we have next there?
On Daily Independent, federal government has killed public universities. Parents, activists, and others lament. Now, parents and activists on Monday lamented that the federal government has killed public university in the country. Now, this is coming as a student in the nation 104 federal and state universities will have to spend additional 3 months at home, following other rollover strike called by academic staff union of university, which is ASU. It's just,
and we also hear ASUP is also embarking
on a strike, which is Association of Polytechnic. They are also embarking on a strike because they just want to join in this force to make sure education comes to stay, and it's good for every student.
Well, we are not strange to the request of ASU, and of course, ASU also, which is the Polytechnic arm, they are now sympathizing. And well, do they also have it going well for them? That's the question. I think the same problem bedeviling ASU is also bedeviling ASU, because basically, what are they asking for? Very simple. We are lecturers. We supposed to earn. There's a benchmark to what we can earn.
Something to earn, something that can actually take care of us and our family and our children.
Yes,
in school too.
Of course, we have bills to pay, and
also training for ourselves as lecturers to retrain the lecturers so they can give good product or good curriculum out there for the student to be better at some point. But I don't know why all this is just running around. It's something else. But as joining in this fight,
well, I don't see anything wrong. I'm not seeing anything wrong with it because I foresaw this coming. It's looking like they're not taking this serious, and it's a far cry from what ought to be, because I mean these people are not bothered. Students have been home since about February or March. And this is about almost 2 months they've been at home, and there is no way forward on this. And you find people wasting their time, young people wasting their time. A course you're supposed to do for 4 years, you end up 7 years,
8 years.
Is it that bad? It's okay. Well, at this juncture, we would actually go to the next story. What do we have on next there?
The Tribune, Fulani group pays for Jonathan form. Emefiele confirms ambition.
Okay, Emefiele has confirmed his ambition. That's good news. That's good news. That's good news. I thought he was going to wait for the court clarification on it, because yesterday his lawyer filed for the court to address the matter, and so that he would know his grounds, whether he qualifies or not, or if there are clauses that are supposed to prevent him from this constitutionally. Well, for him to have come up openly to say now that he's running, so we have that from the Tribune. Well, that's the much we can take this morning on the news, and of course it's been politicking all the way. Well, just before we go, of course you know that the battle is raging in the PDP. As at now, it's already clear that the issue of zoning has been jettisoned by the People's Democratic Party, even though no official statement from the party has said this. However, there are signals from here and there going by the autumn panel, of course, recommendation to the PDP, and as well as from the different quarters, you hear that, of course, there are people who are contested. We know that we have Saraki, which we hear also has bought a Senate form as well
to go for.
And we hear allegedly that he also got a Senate form for himself. And there are actually news around that most of the people who are contesting for presidency also have senatorial forms with their names on it as well, and they are playing safe. They are playing safe.
You know what really was the problem? I'm sorry to take us back over Mefele. He has this, he was complaining that if he's to resign, which is a 30 days agreement before you go for the other part. So he was just there. I think that's why the lawyer is just trying to see how one will work. Last time you talked about it, that some persons are scared that they might just leave their position and not come back to it if it doesn't work.
Okay, well, that's the much we can take this morning on Good Morning Port Harcourt. This is the beat where we get to tell you more like the news roundup. We'll tell you what's happening in the highlights of the news, and of course, views in the papers, as well as all the top stories making rounds online. Okay, well, I will take a break at this point. The next segment is about you. Today is, of course, public complaints. By the way, we were supposed to have an arm of the Riwama people here in the studio today, but we were meant to understand that they are having a meeting with the Falgar local government authority. Being the fact that the governor has now asked the local governments to be temporarily in charge of refuse disposal in the state, because as at this time the state is in a mess as regards to refuse dumping, and it's an eyesore. It's a very terrible thing because it's even a mental hazard. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back on Good Morning Port Harcourt, we will be turning open the phone line for you to get a call in and let us know. Be the reporter this morning. Tell us, what is that thing you notice around the environment? And of course, you can also have your say on the headlines of the news we talked about. Jonathan is a sensation of the moment. The Northerners seem to understand more about him than the Southerners do. So do you have anything to say about this? Also call in on that segment to let us know your opinion on this. This is Opinion Pool segment, and of course, the Eyewitness Report segment. We will be right back on Good Morning Port Harcourt. Stay with us.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Good Morning Port Harcourt, coming to you live from Silverbird Television right here in Port Harcourt, wherever you're watching us from. We say to you, we're here to make your morning worth it. So we just go on straight to trending gist. And while you all are aware that over the weekend in Plateau State, that state unfortunately has had the worst attacks when it comes to suspected herdsmen killing. And this time around, over 70 people were massacred on Sunday. It was a very deadly one, and they left several unascertained number injured. She is here on the grounds of the fact that as we speak, she's alleging that there's a screening going on at the moment in Government House, Port Harcourt, where some aspirants have been exempted from it, and she inclusively is in the list of people who were not allowed access to the screening point, despite the fact that she has everything.
There has been zero empowerment on the youth. There has been nothing done on employment or empowerment. It's been more of capital projects. It's been more of infrastructural projects, and that zero effort has been put into manpower development in every state. Do you think that they are making sense?
Only one beauty pageant spawned the first Miss World from Black Africa. Only one pageant births 5 titles in one night. only one pageant stands out consistently from the rest. Because when it's all said and done, there can only be truly one. The most beautiful girl in Nigeria, Africa's most prestigious beauty pageant, is here again. Get your forms now for the 34th edition of the MBGN. To register, visit www.mbgnsilverbird.com or follow our social media handles at Silverbird MBGN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for details. Don't be told you can't be the one. MBGN, the true essence of beauty.
Welcome back to Good Morning Port Harcourt, and wherever you're watching us from. Yes, we say Port Harcourt, but we know you can watch us from other parts of Nigeria. We got a call from Delta the other day, so we know they're watching. So wherever you're watching from, good morning to you. All right, this is the segment for Opinion Pool, and of course, this is where you get to share your opinion or what you think about the news headline, what you think that's going on around you that you want to, infuse your contribution on, and let us understand that you have a say on that particular matter, as well as if you also actually perhaps you have an eyewitness report, something that's happened around the environment that needs the authority to be called into it. You let us know so that we can shout it out for you and make the government to hear your eyewitness report. All right, well, I think we should start from Barista this morning. What is that particular matter right now that you would really like to talk about that you don't like that's going on around you, or perhaps that you've noticed?
Mine is, this Crystalline College, the issue that came out for Lagos and Dubai, the student. It's actually wrong for an adult to start posting child pornography. It comes with a penalty. Now, the said person that posted this thing on his own personal Twitter handle was a 40-year-old man, and he was a broadcaster, Uche Igwe, and now he's been arraigned at the courts, and he's to pay the sum of 10 million naira or go for 3 years imprisonment. You can imagine that.
Oh, he was lucky he got an option of fine.
10 million.
Child pornography is wrong, and for you who even has child pornography in your phone, if the police apprehends you, you go to prison for it. Where is he gonna get 10 million naira from?
It's terrible.
His friends will have to do a fundraiser for him. He's in deep problem. All right. So child pornography is not good, and that's Barrister's own no for this morning.
No, it's not good
Please
at
do
all.
not post child pornography. Do not spread it. Do not also watch it. Do not save it in your phone. It's a crime. It is a crime. We just heard about the journalist who was arraigned and who has been convicted to either face 3 years imprisonment or, of course, a fine of 10 million naira. So I hope he has some savings in his account. That's the only way he gets away from this one. But anyway, are you aware that even if you pay the fine, you're also an ex-convict? People think that when you pay fine,
I think they are free
if you're
from
given
the
an option
charge.
of fine, you think you're out of it. No, you're not. You're an ex-convict. You can't be voted. You can't be voted for. You can't vote. Yes. So keep your slate clean and delete that child pornography from your phone if you have any, so that you can escape that. Okay, the number to call to be a part of Public Opinion Pool this morning of course, Good Morning Port Harcourt is our 817 9624696. The Jonathan matter, I don't know why they're dragging the man this much. I really don't understand why they're dragging the man. I was listening just to deviate to the environmental issues in River State. I was listening to one of the representative of I think it's like a volunteer group that they're into sanitation and all that. They assist the relevant authority in the cleaning exercises going on in Port Harcourt. And I listened to him yesterday, and he talked about the fact that when Amechi was governor, at the time the former governor Amechi was around as governor, he was paying 700 I think it was 700,000 talked about 700,000. No, I think they said I'm trying to remember the figure he mentioned, and this was like they reduced it to 700 million. I beg your pardon. 700 million. I think that's what he talked about, and this was for the refuse contractors who are clearing. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of
That's
money.
why I'm wondering why we haven't embraced waste to wealth, because this waste can be converted to so many things.
They'll make good money too.
That would also, recycling of waste would help this chunk of money accrued to waste disposal, not to waste, because by the time this waste is being able to be converted to energy, converted to raw materials, converted to fertilizer, there's so many things you can convert it to. I'm telling you, seriously. So you see, if we can do all this, you find out that this, it might be easier. If the states can make business out of waste disposal, it'll be easy on them. And from the news, from what I gathered yesterday on the interview with that man, I listened on our sister station, 93.7. They were on in the afternoon yesterday, and they talked about the fact that the Governor Wike's administration has cut it from 500, it was 700 million. It came down to 500 million, and then it came down to 200 million. And this is not easy on the contractors, as they are grossly underpaid at the moment, and this has made it hard for them to really keep to their terms of agreement, because of cost of running business in Nigeria this time, which is not strange. And he made an appeal to the governor, who he seems to believe is working so much and doing a lot in the states, to look at this and do something about this. And then the question would be, this local government, if what is required for refuse disposal monthly is a whooping sum of, let's say what the governor is doing now is 200 million, or is as they say, it's supposed to be 700, it came down to 500 and now 200. How will the local governments handle this? Because it's from the allocation they are given, and allocation has already been budgeted for before now. I'm wondering, I need to hear from maybe one of the local government chairmen to know how the FALGA will be about local government chairman, to know how they are going to handle this, because it's not in their fiscal budget, it's not in their fiscal plan for the year, it's not in the year's budget, and that is a whooping amount of money to be miscellaneous. So how are they going to be able to handle this? Well, I don't see the refuse problem going off any moment soon, because it's looking like neither here nor there. We'll be needing to speak to, and it looks like the Ministry of Environment is not even involved in refuse issues about the refuse and all that. At least looking like the governor does not have that much confidence, because in all this, there's no mention of the Ministry of Environment. There's no mention of the Commissioner of Environment.
It hasn't been had. I think if the contract has been taken from the private sector and also from Riwama and is being channeled to the local government, which the money has dropped down from 700 million, 500 to 200 million now, how will this local government be able to sort out this mess that's in the state already? Because if we had looked before this time how to channel or convert our waste into something else or recycle it that will bring money, we won't be having this problem.
Yeah, because it can run itself.
Oh yes, it can.
If we have, but it's been the thing about it is that the government is usually a lot of this particular government in River State right now. I've not noticed their investment drive or business drive. They're just government as usual. Amechi's time, forgive me to go back to then, I noticed that they had the drive to create companies that are under public-private partnerships.
Okay.
That is to say, for instance, we have the Shanghai Farm, which is an agro project, which is also a PPP. We'll have, of course, the brewery that was revived and is also a PPP at that time. So we have quite a lot that was springing up here and there under people's under of course the public-private partnership, which had a little input of the government in it, and some had bulk government involvement in it. But this particular government is just interested in projects and get the roads done, get the bridges done. So we don't see that happening. Well, in the last dispensation, which is under Amechi's government, there were even at that time there were talks about the waste to wealth
and how to recycle it
initiation. And at that time, I think there was a private company that came in to tap into that area. At that time, I remember attending one or two media parleys with the Ministry of Environment that these matters like this were raised. But right now, we don't hear anything about that. It'll be very nice for the government to consider bringing in private investors into the waste disposal business, and how there are, of course, companies. If you go online, you find companies that you can bring into River State. If the government cannot do it, they can actually create the conducive environment, create a meeting point for these private investors to come in and give them a soft landing point to see how they can convert the waste in River State to wealth. Get to call in and let us know what's happening in your environment. 0817-962-4696. You heard all the headlines of the news. We looked at Jonathan. We looked at, of course, what's going on with the refuse disposal. We looked at a lot of issues on this morning's program. We will take a break. When we come back, of course, the show continues. This is Good Morning Port Harcourt, and we await your opinion polls and eyewitness reports, because we need you to be a part of what we're doing here. If you don't tell us, how we know? I mean, we go round, we agree, we have the eyes to see. We have reporters on the field, but we can't be everywhere. So you are in the nooks and the crannies, or you know what's happening. You bring the news to us today. We will be right back after this break. Stay with us.
Only one beauty pageant spawned the first Miss World from Black Africa. Only one pageant births 5 titles in one night. Only one pageant stands out consistently from the rest. Because when it's all said and done, there can only be truly one. The most beautiful girl in Nigeria, Africa's most prestigious beauty pageant, is here again. Get your forms now for the 34th edition of the MBGN. To register, visit www.mbgnsilverbird.com or follow our social media handles at SilverbirdMBGN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for details. Don't be told, you can be the one. MBGN, the true essence of beauty.
Okay, welcome back to Good Morning Port Harcourt, and we hope that you're warmed up for this section. We are looking at, of course, your opinions this morning. What are you noticing in your environment that you do not like? What would you like to comment about as regards to the news headlines? What do you think about Jonathan vying for presidency again? Looks to me like this particular project is a northern project. And they need to tell us why. I think I'm hoping I could get more reason, because the fact that they say, oh, he impacted Alamajiri schools, Alamajiri children in the north, and built schools for them. It's good, okay, but is it a project that is that just the reason? Because another president can do the same. They can make such demand with the next president to say do more for the north. And even in this time, even this administration has done quite a lot for the north. The north seems to be getting quite a lot. You know, when you look at the railway, even though you listened to Nyesom Wike the other day,
I did.
When Nyesom Wike talked about the fact that as Minister of State for Education, he did quite a lot for River State, and went ahead to mention some projects that he initiated to come to River State when he was Minister of State for Education, and went on to say that in the case of the former governor of River State, Rotimi Chibika, who is presently the Minister of Transportation, that he can't say much or so, that, you know, because even the university proposed, the Maritime University proposed, it is still waiting. It is not yet, it has not even commenced, you know, it's still proposed. And then he also mentioned the fact that even the railway, at this time, that they're thinking that, the River State would have been impacted first. The ones for the north has been, of course, you know, Abuja Kaduna is functional, very well functional. And we heard that there was going to be one from Maiduguri to Port Harcourt, and that one is still on the pipeline. We don't know how far, we don't know the progress report on it. None is delivered yet. And if you look at also the ports issue, the fact that we have already an existing port in Port Harcourt, and being that Port Harcourt is close to the people who really do imports a lot, which is of course the Igbo people. Look at Aba is actually very close by here, where it's close by here. These are businesses that the Igbos do big time, and you know that if it's in Port Harcourt, it's like home, because it's really close to the east. And now he's saying that they're talking about creating a new port, a dry port in Onitsha, when the one that is functional here, that is not a dry port, is not functional yet. You know, so the truth about it is that Wike went ahead to allege that the former governor and present Minister of Transportation has not done much. But you see, he cannot do beyond his power. He is the Minister of Transportation, and there is a budget for all this, and there is processes to getting permission to do these things, for the funds to be released, and it will go according to the funds that are released. If the budget says you're going to do this, and the funds, the permission and the funds for A comes from the presidency, he will embark on A first. The thing that the trick around it is the fact that he doesn't have the final say.
he would only go ahead with the permission, the ones that the president has signed.
That's the only way
it should happen. So what is your take this morning? We have several topics on the burner that we can talk about this morning. What is your take on today's topic? We're looking at, of course, eyewitness reports. What have you noticed in your environment that you do not like?
When it comes to the waste, like before we went on a short break, I feel if whatever they are doing, they just have to be on point, because the rate of malaria which this same waste is going to contribute to our citizens in River State is something we can't even, because if you want to go to the hospital before you start the normal malaria treatment for children or for adults, now let's start. How many of us in Nigeria take our health very serious? Now when it comes to refuse and the rest of it, it boils down to our health. So I think the waste business should be at some point get to where we can actually partner with other private sectors, people that can actually recycle waste, and at the end of the day bring money which will help and boost the economy of River State.
Okay, well, you might have a little point to that. And even talking about that, I remember when I was way younger, there were companies that were assisting the government in things like that. On sanitation days, you will see trucks donated by Shell, trucks donated by, so you see different companies with even the receptacle, the recycle bin that is kept. You see courtesy. You see a particular one at the junction. You see courtesy a particular company that has donated it to Ministry of Environment for this purpose. But we don't find that anymore. It's now solely left in the hands of the government to do that. But the thing that is thrilling is that if you go to the GRA area, and then of course to the old GRA area, you won't find the refuse, and it's just simple. They have private refuse contractors who are not together with the government group of contractors. These are like private refuse waste management companies who would liaise with you as a property owner or a tenant in a compound to say you will pay me XYZ amount, and at this rate, if it's 5,000 every month, we will come and we'll clear your refuse on a daily basis. We'll pick them up every day, and then at the end of the month you pay us up. It works, as well. So maybe we should begin to look at this, because it's okay to wait for the government. It's okay to, for them to do their responsibility. But if we look at it technically, there's a way neighborhood people can gather and see how they can contribute to have such a backup plan. Because I do not totally agree. I don't agree at all to the refuse dumping in the middle of the road. It is really, really an eyesore, I tell you. So I think if perhaps there could be an arrangement where these private refuse companies can, liaise with people in this environment to pay, maybe if you're supposed to pay as a tenant, you're supposed to pay. I'm just offering remedies for this particular thing. If you're supposed to pay 5,000, you can join with your neighbor. You can actually join with your neighbor. You can join with your neighbor to pay 2,525 each. And the 2,525 each both of you are paying can be merged and become 5,000. That way the cost is reduced. Or say a particular compound, what the refuse disposing company is charging per month is 10,000, or say it's 5,000, and you put 5 in the compound. You can contribute the 5,000 to be 1,000 naira each person, and then at the end of the day, the refuse generated from the compound is treated as one waste, and then the refuse contractor company will still charge the same thing that it would have charged for just one person. I think this might be a way of us personally, just like we used to be provided water by the government. And at the moment now, the government does no longer do that for everybody. We have now improvised to have our personal boreholes in our compounds.
Deborah, away from, it's still the refuse and the waste business. Do you know, with this suggestion of yours, is actually a way of creating job for young people, young adults. They can actually come together, get a truck, maybe hire a truck. Let me not say buy, but it's like going from one compound to the other. If you're giving me this kind of waste, this is what you are going to pay. Before you start doing from one street to the other, one estate to the other, it's a way of
business money to be tapped for what is going on in River State.
You're making money out of it, and at the end of the day, also cleaning your environment. I think it's highway beyond when we have to leave this thing sold on the state government. If they've not sorted it out, we need to sort it out ourselves, because in the other way around, you're also going to make money from it.
Well, the thing that is happening basically right now that I notice is the fact that what they basically have are like this. There are these people they call. I'm trying to, I don't know the English word for them, but they call them merua or something like that.
Okay.
They're like these people who do daily chores. They go around your houses, pick up the debts that are littered, and then you pay them a very minute amount of money. The thing about these people is that they take the debts, but they don't take it to the refuse dump sites. They take it to the junction where they have normal refuse waiting for collection by these contractors. They take it to the junctions and litter everywhere. That same money you're paying to the man who's coming to pick it up from your house, who doesn't know where the refuse site is. Why don't you add up something to it and let the refuse disposing companies that are coming, you have a contract running with them where you can actually give them this debt and then they can deposit it at the dump site. But the problem is it right now that one of the complaints about the environmental sanitation volunteering group that came yesterday, represented by one of them, is the fact that these refuse that are actually picked up, the problem is that they don't have so much dump sites at the moment. The government needs to create more dump sites where these things can be dumped. And the thing about it, some of them are solid waste that won't perish that fast. So most times you have them burning them at the dump sites and all that. He did complain that how many dump sites do they have presently in River State? That is also a bone of contention. That is also a particular problem because they collect this dirt and sometimes the dump sites are already filled up, and all that. So it's also important that they create this. But I see business in what is going on, and if people can just come together, people who might have the finance, you might not even need to buy a truck. Buying a truck is going far. You can hire a truck. While you're waiting for the money generator to buy a truck, if you are able to go around and get at least enough contracts to dispose refuse, you can actually hire a truck. You understand? Hire a truck that will come and pick up this. And at the end of the day, you separate your profit from what you're paying for hiring the truck. And at the end of the day, you might find out that the business is going. Within a space of few months or 1 year, don't be surprised that, because it's actually a problem at the moment, and I really doubt the capability of the local government to be able to fully house this, or else the state government is going to be releasing these monies that used to be giving directly to Rewama to sort out these contractors to the local government, or else I don't see how the local government can accommodate 200 million.
200 million to
unbudgeted for. I really don't see how that is going to work out. Okay, I don't know whether the phone is having slight problem. We're going to go on a little bit to check what is happening. 081796244696. You need to be a part of this segment. We are looking at interesting things that concerns you and I. And when you call in here, basically, we raise these matters with the relevant authority. Like I said, we're going to have the Ministry of Environment, not Ministry of Environment, I beg your pardon, a volunteer group that is putting it upon themselves to ensure that River State is clean again, based on the menace, based on the ISO, based on all the things that are going on right now in terms of refuse dumping. Port Harcourt is looking like a garbage city. Seriously, it's not something for anybody to see. We'll take a break. When we come back, of course, let's see what's happening to the phone line, and of course be sure that it's on track so that you can get to call in and be a part of this show this morning. Stay with us. This is Good Morning Port Harcourt.
Morning, my neighbor. How are you doing? Are you feeling okay?
Only one beauty pageant spawned the first Miss World from Black Africa. Only one pageant births 5 titles in one night. only one pageant stands out consistently from the rest. Because when it's all said and done, there can only be truly one. The most beautiful girl in Nigeria, Africa's most prestigious beauty pageant, is here again. Get your forms now for the 34th edition of the MBGN. To register, visit www.mbgnsilverbird.com or follow our social media handles at SilverbirdMBGN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for details. Don't be told, you can be the one. MBGN, the true essence of beauty. With a gradual lifting of COVID-19 restrictions across the country, life seems to be returning to something close to normal. But is it really? The coronavirus is still out there and remains deadly and highly contagious, and only too willing to strike again and again and again. Do not drop your guard. Maintain good personal hygiene, avoid overcrowded places, and more significantly, get vaccinated. Remember, it's never over till it's completely over. This is a message from the Silverbird Group.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Alright, glad to know that you're still there with us, and this is Good Morning Port Harcourt coming to you live from Silverbird Television. And on this Tuesday morning, we're looking at, of course, matters arising, public opinion poll, what is going on around the country, your vicinity, river states, and that you find not nice, and you want to talk about it. And I think you look at the social media space. What happened to this blogger or this journalist is an eye-opener, especially for the citizen journalists. A lot of them actually just post to get likes and get followership. Do you know, I saw a headline one day that one prominent actor is dead. And okay, we have a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, madam.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name, where you're calling from, and then, of course, your contribution?
Samuel Stephen calling from Loma Road.
Okay, tell us, we're listening.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the refuge disposal and the amount of money that the state government has put into it. So if it is really true that 500 million or 200 million is what the government are putting in place to see that this refuge has been disposed, the right job has truly been done, because most of the places that I pass by, like when you come to Simie, at Simie Market, you see the whole place being littered. You go to along Okru Slaughter Road. Like yesterday, I almost had an accident with a truck that was coming because the refuge occupied the entire road. There was no space for the other car to overtake the other one. So both of us almost have an accident. It was just by the grace of God that we survived this occurrence. So what I'm trying to say in effect is if the government are putting all this money that we had, or what they have budgeted, that this money is being used, I don't think that my suggestion is that if they have done such a thing, this will have gone a long way to dispose the refuge from the road. But I think they are not doing the right thing. If this money has been budgeted, they are diverting it to something else. They are not using it to do the proper job, because
that's not correct.
When you go around the city of
that's not correct.
Refuge is being littered every day.
Well, that's not correct. That's not correct, dude. That's not correct. It's being released monthly, according to the representative of the company that came, the volunteers.
Harcourt is being sanitized. Thank you.
All right, thank you. But it's good to not to misinform the public, though. Whether you're calling in or perhaps because you're we don't have that record whether the government is keeping to it or not. The contractors are not saying that they are owing them. That's not the talk. They are asking for a raise in what they are giving for this refuse disposal, and vis-a-vis the fact that, of course, they are not meant to deal with the local government authorities. Hello, good morning. Hello, yeah, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from, please?
Yes, I'm Mr. One People Drama by name.
Okay. So tell us your
How are you
contribution.
today?
Well, good.
Okay.
Okay, the only I want to say is that the people handling the job, I know they are trying, and if there's no fund for them to work more, they will not have the power to do the job. And if you talk of the state government for the mobilization, who normally mobilize the contractors, they are trying, but the state government should more empower them like the way the former governor did. The former governor did it, even the sanitation of the roads, all the streets, people were working, everything is fine. So the contractor are complaining that maybe there's not enough funds for them to do the work more. Yes, I think we should look at the truth and see that the government should support them the more. Not that the government is not trying, it's trying, but we should do something. It's not possible for him to go to the next level, but your kitchen is not going to be so dirty while you are going to other people's kitchen to say want to clean it for them. At least you keep your state very neat before you go to other ones to do other things.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. All right. Well, he just made a point. He said even as the state governor is trying, he should just add more energy to it.
To empower them.
But I believe that the future of this, the government might not be able to sustain this for too long. My reason is because I feel like they should actually, of course, the private sector should come into this. And what will happen is if the people see that the government is really not forthcoming with keeping to it, I mean, they should take it upon themselves to see how Nigerians are usually known for being that way. They look for a way around situations. Like look at the WhatsApp. The WhatsApp used to be. Let's take this call. This will be the last call, perhaps. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Sandra, coming from my tree.
Okay, your point, your eyewitness report, please.
About the refuse, like, I don't know, this way, down to the junction gate, they are left the road. If you try to get to the road, I went to try right last week, Saturday. I don't think the car was for 3 so that the driver can live there. But the place was very, very strong. And for the payment, I think the government release the money for those that are in charge of the different places to pay. Then go through them in and out of it that so because my mom just resigned to his note. So over did not pay my mom.
Okay, your mom just I didn't get that part of what happened to your mom.
Did what?
She should be praying, which is
your mom is part of the refuse people who clean the streets.
She gets to resign so that they're able to pay. After the mom said that the mom had a weekend money for 4 good months. What do you expect her to do? That is the reason why most of the people that park the graves, they refuse to park. So that's why the government release the money. They should go around and check who has paid the people that is working.
Okay, even when government releases funds,
I should check
they should also follow up to find out whether the contractors are actually getting paid by the relevant authority.
She's
making a good point.
Thank you very much.
At this time, I'm trying to get their name now. Riwama. Okay, Riwama at this point now. There's nobody sitting there in authority because the head has resigned, perhaps to follow political pursuit, so I mean, but we will try as much as possible to get the volunteers sanitation authority before the week runs out, or perhaps the commissioner for environment. I know that the commissioner of environment has not been mentioned in all this. I fear that we might get to call the person and they say, oh, I'm not involved in this, so basically that's what it is in Rivers State at this time.
Oh my.
All right, we'll at this juncture, we'll say to the government, do the right thing, and I'll say to the private sector, there's business waiting in this, locking in this corner.
I could just
swing into action,
make money
swing
from
into action, make it affordable to a level where you can gather a lot of refuse in an environment and see how you can hire trucks and do this. It could be business. By the time you
make
do
money from
3-4 tons in a day. 3, 4, 5 tons in a day. You dispose, you come back, you dispose, you pick different areas. There might be business locking in that area because the government at this time is a bit slow in the action. And you know how Nigerians usually would find their way around it. But this is not an excuse. The government should do what is right and ensure that Port Harcourt is clean again. This is no longer something we want to talk about next week. We want to see action. That's the much we can say this morning on the show. We say to you, have a beautiful Tuesday, and remember that they wouldn't know you can do it until you show them you can do it. So go out there and conquer your world. We will come your way again tomorrow. And it'll be time for the medical program, which is, of course, Living Healthy, where we get to take you through how you would be able to live healthy, happy. And, of course, if you're healthy and happy, the chances that you could be wealthy eventually.
You could be wealthy eventually.
All right, so much for today. Have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. And, of course, we have people behind making this possible. We have Donald behind the camera. We have Mr. Chusweke doing it there. We have, of course, Isaac Wakia. We have Olise. And these are all people who ensure that you watch the show on a daily basis. It comes to you Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon. And this is where we round off your morning. Have a beautiful day. Of course, our transmission continues to stick with Silverbird Television.